All right, guys, I want to spend a little bit of time to explain the annotated map. How do you actually read a text and actually place it onto a map? So it's a very different way of thinking. So let's go ahead and introduce what we're doing here. I'm going to use our example in regards to chapter 12 here to provide that sample. So with that, as you're looking at the instructions, you're going to have a part of the text that you're going to read. And from there, you're going to try to annotate it onto the map. And I'm going to show how to do this in a Google Drawings. Now, you could go ahead and print out a physical copy if you'd like and sort of have a greater freedom and flexibility to write however what you want, to have more flexible arrows and so forth. But if you want to use a digital copy, go ahead and use the Google Drawings that's listed right here. Okay, so it should look something like this here. Okay, and this is zoomed in just a little bit. So let's go ahead and read parts of it and do part of this together here. So this is from chapter 12, and this is about the revival of Asian economies, particularly in Ming, China. So if you could, pause the video here and go ahead and read this piece right here. Okay. Hopefully you've read this particular portion of the document here. And what you should find are a number of different things that can be illustrated and placed on a map. Okay, for instance here, it says, after the Ming Dynasty relocated its capital from Nanjing in the prosperous south to the northern city of Beijing, Chinese merchants and so forth exploited the surging domestic market. Okay. The reconstruction of the Grand Canal now opened a major artery in food, riches, and so forth as a result. Okay. Urban centers such as Nanjing, with the population approaching 1 million, and Beijing at 500,000, became massive, lucrative markets. So in this case, here, what you can do with the particular map here is to go ahead and place an arrow, and you could do it either way from Nanjing, which is right around here, to Beijing. So here's the relocation of that particular issue. And then you're going to go ahead and use a text box. You can go ahead and copy and paste this one for all the subsequent ones that you use. It's a nice small 8-point font here. But you can go ahead and describe what is going on here. So in this case, movement of the Ming capital from Nanjing to Beijing. Nanjing to Beijing. Access to the southern markets. So you can use the, again, various text boxes that are listed right here to form your own, or you could go and copy and paste this one here. Obviously, the font needs to be a little bit smaller, but go ahead and place it here, and it demonstrates some sort of movement that is going on with this particular piece. Okay, and then we can go ahead and move on and continue with another example. So take a look at this image here. Here is the next part. So go ahead and spend a minute. Go ahead and read this next part right here. Okay, hopefully you've paused the video and we get to come back to this here. It talks about paper money, it talks about silver and gold and so forth, and particularly China and its usage of silver becomes really, really important here. So where is the silver coming from? So initially, you have the silver coming from Japan, which is important. And then subsequently later on, okay, it's going to come from the Spanish in the Philippines as such. And we'll get to more of that in the reading itself here. So what you can do on the thematic map is to go ahead and, first of all, here would be an example, the annotated map. What you can do is utilize, again, arrows, for instance, okay, and listed right here. So there's an arrow, and you could go from Japan, okay, to China. So do Japan to China, and you could even play with the arrows a little bit in terms of the thickness. You can also, because this is something that has stopped happening. So initially, this was what was happening: silver from Japan to China. So you could make this, like, say, for example, a dotted arrow. Okay, and with that dotted arrow, it sort of symbolizes and demonstrates, hey, you know what? Hey, this is what used to be happening as such. Now, if the colors work out for you, if you feel like you can work with the colors to better prove a point, feel free to do so. And just place that on there. And then if you would like, go ahead and add a new text box. I just simply copy and pasted this one. And you can talk about silver. It used to come from Japan to China. Okay. Placed by Spanish silver from the Philippines. Okay, and then from there, you could probably, in this case here, maybe decide, okay, I'm going to go ahead and place a larger red arrow from the Philippines to China, for instance. I'm going to change this over to Now I'll just do a longer dash line here, something to that extent. And then you can go ahead and add in a piece of text if you would like. But basically, as you read, you just kind of annotate the map. Hey, if you need to use the whole scope of the map, and if you feel like you need to go ahead and illustrate somehow, you can do that as well. So there is a free scribble. So if you want to feel like you want something to move a little bit further, you can do that if you would like. But either way, annotate the reading as you go, putting in symbols, drawings, and so forth, whatever you feel like is necessary to better demonstrate what you have read. Okay, all right, hope this helps, and happy mapping.